There's nothing stopping you from starting a movement in your state to get gold and silver as legal tender. Nothing. You can take our bill right from our website, mofree.org, literally download it, send it to your representative or your senator. We're talking state representative and state senator. Don't go to DC with this because they don't want it, by the way. You can send it to your state senator, your state rep, and other people in your state should be doing the same thing.
The founding fathers wrote silver and gold into the United States Constitution for a reason. Now we have a growing number of states in the United States moving towards new legal tender legislation, including my home state, Missouri. And there's no one who knows more about this subject than a channel friend, Mr. Pat Holland. He's going to bring us up to speed what we have to expect for the year 2024. Pat, welcome back to Ron's Basement.
Hey there, Ron. Thank you for having me back. Red shirt solidarity going on here.
And we have a mission in 2024, again, throughout the country, but specifically here in Missouri. You've been working hard with this new legislation, supporting it, your organization supporting it, the Missouri Freedom Initiative. What's the latest on what's going on with legal tender legislation in Missouri?
Okay, thank you for that. Everyone remembers SB 100, Senate Bill 100. It's a nice round number, but that was the legislation for 2023 that was stopped at the finish line by House Speaker Dean Plocher in the state of Missouri. Single-handedly, he decided we weren't going to have it. So one man in the House of Representatives determined for the entire state of Missouri that we couldn't have silver and gold legislation. Okay, so this year, I keep saying this year, I mean 2024, Senator Eigel has put out a new bill. It doesn't have a number yet, but it's going to be something like SB 745 or something like that. It's available right now to view on our website, and that's at mofree.org. It's on the front page. You can't miss it. It's like 14 pages long. I know it's a long bill. I get that, but you have to put in what's called some of the uniform code when you're actually changing something to do with the monetary system. So a lot of that is just how you get rid of capital gains tax and, for silver and gold in the state of Missouri. But the point is, it's out. You can read it. And this is the bill. It's that's actually going to be submitted and pre-filed on December 1st in the state of Missouri, pre-filed, because I don't think the legislative session begins until like January 4th or something like that.
Okay.
So everything you guys remember about what we did in 2023, we're doing again in 2024. We have the momentum. It was a very popular bill, except with Democrats. Democrats were too concerned with Nazi gold, Confederate gold, and MAGA gold making its way into the state of Missouri and going into circulation. They said that on the House floor, by the way. I have a video about that. And something called zombie apocalypse silver, Ron. They were very concerned about that getting into circulation in the state of Missouri. So we hope we can allay their fears and let them know that that this is all figments of their imagination, and the Democrats don't need to worry about this being a problem. But the legislation is available to view, mofree.org. And I'll talk a little bit more, if you don't mind, that it's not just Missouri doing this. Other states are stepping up. I happen to know for a fact right now, New Hampshire and Florida have very powerful bills. They're pre-filing as well. And
wow.
Yep. So that's, and by the way, I do know that Tennessee is doing something as well. And that's just because, what we do. So I do hear things. What we do, what I said when I meant by that is, we were very involved in the national movement in 2023, partially because of Ron's Basement, by the way. But there is another organization that's getting very much involved called Citizens for Sound Money. Now, I'm not 100% sure exactly how they're going to go about it, but they're an outfit that is looking at the national scene as well. So it's something that we will announce officially when we're ready for it, a partnership with them. But the Missouri Freedom Initiative is going to be concentrating very heavily on getting the legislation done in the state of Missouri. because that's where we live. That's where you live too, Ron.
Yep.
So the Missouri Freedom Initiative wants gold and silver as legal tender. And so we're going to keep pushing it. And once again, this is very important for people to understand that are watching this, that are plugged into Missouri politics. This was very popular in our legislature. It was popular in the Senate. It was popular in the House. It went through the Senate. You know, it was approved. It went to the House, went through. We had to fight for every inch of it. Every inch of it we had to fight for, even though it's constitutional. You mentioned that at the beginning of this video. Article 1, Section 10 of the Missouri or of the U.S. Constitution, we have gold and silver as money. We don't have dollars listed there. We don't have, you know, credit cards listed in the Constitution. You know,
Right.
all there is gold and silver coin. That's it. Yeah. So
and just like, you know, the founding fathers granted us, you know, powers of free speech, right to bear arms. There's a reason why they put gold and silver in there. Yeah, I mean, they were forward looking, and they wanted the nation to have that right. And it feels like now, state by state throughout the country, we're seeing this movement for states, you know, saying, hey, wait, you know, you're not going to do it on a federal level, but on a state level, we can allow our citizens their right to reclaim what's, you know, should have been theirs all along, this right to use silver and gold as legal tender.
That's right. And legislative, and by the way, I've been hit with all of the naysay reasons why we don't have to do this. Mm-hmm. We can just use gold and silver as money right now, can't we, Ron? If you and I want to do a transaction, let's just say, you know, the gold bear, I decide, right, hey, I'm going to buy the gold bear from you, Ron. And you say,
let's talk.
Yeah, let's talk. You know, how much do you have, Pat? And so I say, well, I'll tell you what, for the gold bear, I'll give you 10 ounces of silver. You and I can make that transaction. Yeah. There's nothing stopping us. However, when a state government, in our case, Missouri, accepts gold and silver for payment of taxes, or at least they say they do on paper, that really sets a brand new parameter and sets a brand new tone for what is money for businesses. Mm-hmm. Now, when I buy that gold bear from you, that's not, you know, Ron Inc., you know, purchase, you know, from Ron Inc. That's just from Ron. Mm-hmm. But if you were a business and you were selling, you know, gold bears with blindfolds, yeah, you know, actually selling them, that, you know, bears that size, and you have a whole business doing it, you'd be much more likely to take silver and gold for, you know, basically for business transactions if the state is accepting it in the form of payment of taxes. This is the magic here. And once again, we have competition, Ron. We have competition. And our good friend Jay Powell is the competition. He wants to go to the digital dollar. He wants businesses to use a digital dollar. How do we know this? Because of the Fed Now program, which basically is with banks that are tied to the Federal Reserve. They're incentivizing businesses to stop using cash. Stop, you know, using cash. That's the main goal of the Fed Now program. Now, it's a very elaborate program. It's got a lot of whistles and bells, right? But that's the end game for the Fed Now program, is to get everyone off of cash completely and go completely digital. Then they can go to the digital dollar. Yeah, we have competition, and it's tough competition. That's the Federal Reserve. They want a digital dollar so we can go to social credit scoring, ESG. ESG is coming regardless. I'm very sorry about that. I don't know the governing source on ESG. I think is the World Economic Forum. It has nothing to do with the Federal Reserve. It has nothing to do with the United States government. This is a group of unelected bureaucrats that are determining how businesses should operate and increasing their costs to comply with their weird platform.
If you're looking to buy gold, silver, or platinum, do yourself a favor and check out Pimbex, the online precious metals bullion dealer and sponsor of Ron's Basement. I was a happy customer before they offered to support the channel. You'll find they have the best prices, quality, and service. I think Pimbex is best, and you will too. And be sure to tell them that you're from Ron's Basement.
ESG, environmental social governance. So that's what you get with digital currency. That's what you get with the digital dollar. That's what you get with digital wallets, face scanning technology, digital IDs, where your phone because it becomes your entire identity.
Yeah.
You have to have a smartphone. In fact, I don't want to say this yet, but we have to strongly consider getting rid of our smartphones, gang. Just get rid of them, because actually that's the tech that they will use to actually, put in a digital currency, social credit scoring, ESG, digital wallets, facial scanning. Can you walk into this business, Ron? Well, there's a camera right outside the door of the business, and it's going to, do a scan of your face and determine through your social credit score whether or not you've been a good enough boy to go into this grocery store.
Right.
That's what they're doing in China. So this isn't as far away as people think. They've started this process in China. It's been reported on months ago. Yeah. So this is so gold and silver is freedom. It's liberty. It's what the founding fathers even said we should do. And that was based on rarity. Gold and silver were rare. Therefore, rare equals, some kind of value. Plus gold was, wanted at the time for, all sorts of different purposes, but mainly to collect, basically to store and collect and make little statues out of. Gold, it just doesn't corrode. That's one of the beautiful things about gold. Yeah. So, but at any rate, that's not necessarily true of silver, but the founding fathers didn't know the importance of silver in industry. And so silver, I think, is going to go up in value because of this. Go ahead.
Well, it feels like silver and gold could soon become the last safe harbor or bastion of privacy for
That's
people,
right,
when it comes to financial transactions. And I want to throw in with the Fed Now program, and I'm not an expert on it, but it feels like to me, and I've heard other pundits say this, that it's kind of like the infrastructure into which they can plug in CBDC and things like that. And the analogy that I use would be like if you and I live on the outskirts of a large metropolitan area, you and I are next door neighbors, and we both had paid to have wells dug in our yard because we wanted to have our own supply of water. Right, we wanted our own private supply of water, and as the city grows, you and I are sitting out in the front yard chatting one night, and the construction crew shows up, starts digging through our yards, and we say, "What are you guys doing?" They said, "Well, we're laying the new water mains." And we're like, "Well, wait a minute, we didn't know about this." Like they'll say, "No, don't worry about it. It's just a water main. Don't, no big deal." And then, a year or two later, we get a letter in the mail saying it's now, because where I live in St. Louis County, I think it's illegal to have a well in my yard. We get a letter from the government saying, you are now legally required to connect to the water main. Is that a good analogy?
Yep, I've seen this happen in small towns. With these small towns where they had wells and septic tanks, they would hook them up to city sewer and city water. Totally unnecessary. I mean, there was no need for it, but they did pay an awful lot of money to do it. I can remember the town my grandmother lived in Willow River, Minnesota. I think it was $18,000 to hook up, and that was some 10, 15 years ago. Maybe a little bit longer than that, but 15 grand. And and of course it went right to the the city, who was paying the construction and for digging, for laying all these pipes and everything. But you're right. This is something that I think a lot of people have to deal with at this point. I am on a well, by the way. I'm out in the county. I'm not in I'm in Clever, Missouri, but I'm actually 4 miles outside of the city limits. I'm in the school district. And so at any rate, it would take an enormous amount of infrastructure to deliver city water to me out here. Right. But you're right. I mean, these are things that, and
it's
by
like
the way,
infrastructure is put in place with Fed Now, and then at some point, if you want to go to the grocery store, or you want to go to the gas station, or if you want to fly on an airplane, you need to be, connected through social credit scoring and through CBDC. You're going to have to be part of this system
Right. Well,
like it or not.
Your analogy was perfect. And I'm sorry I didn't finish, taking the analogy into Fed Now. Water is crucial for life.
Yeah.
But so is actually going to the store and buying food, These are basically your analogy was perfect for this, because the Fed Now program takes us to central bank digital currency. I say digital dollar all the time. That's what I mean when I say digital dollar, by the way, central bank digital currency. But the whole point is to totally control your behavior, and then also make sure that you are publicly shunned if you are critical of the government, by literally not letting you do anything in society. And by the way, that's another thing too. In China, they actually have a program. It's all based on cell phone tech, and we're talking smartphones. So you're on your phone, you're walking around, you're down in Shanghai, like you often do, Ron.
Yeah.
And so you've got this app on your phone, and it lets you know you're within like 100 meters of someone with a bad social credit score. And it gives you like 5 minutes to get away from that bad scoring person who is running around Shanghai. You have no clue who that person is. Shanghai is quite crowded, by the way. You have no idea who that is. All you know is you got this red, dot beeping on your, blinking on your phone. And you got to get away from that, because that's someone with a bad social credit score.
Yeah.
And so that's what the Chinese government is doing. Communism is basically becoming self-governance by where you can spend your money, what you can do, where you can travel. Mm-hmm. And so that's what they've moved. They've moved to technology to keep communism, and not just communism, but a total, complete evisceration of any human rights whatsoever.
Yeah.
And
I'm Pat, I'm thinking maybe those red dots, hopefully those aren't the guys that are wearing the red shirts, right?
Yeah, no, I don't think they are. I don't think they
you
are.
weren't saying that,
red,
were you?
Yeah, red's associated with communism too. You just made me think of that. So Republican Party, apparently is communist because they're red in color. And the Democrats, of course, are blue. But all joking aside, I love your analogy of water. Get on the city system or don't have water. It's your choice.
Yeah.
They say it's a choice, right? You can't run your well anymore. So, okay, you stop using your well, and you have a choice whether or not to pay that $15,000 and get on the city well or the city water system. That's not a choice. That's a lack of options, is what that is.
No, you make perfect sense. I agree with you 100%. So maybe the well can be in our minds silver and gold, right? Our ability to provide for ourselves, ability to be self-sufficient, and get our water the way that we see fit.
And
right?
then the septic tank or the sewer can be CDBCs. So we're just drawing analogies here.
First Mining Gold is a development company advancing two of the largest gold projects in Canada. Springpole in Ontario and Duparquet, located in Quebec, each already has 5 million ounces of gold reserves, but exploration initiatives are underway at both projects to find even more gold. First Mining is well-financed, has zero debt, and owns an interest in 4 additional Canadian gold development projects.
So taking all this into account, your state, now Ron and I are in Missouri. We share a state. We share invisible lines that say that we are in the state of Missouri. If your state is not going forward with gold and silver legislation, there is absolutely nothing stopping you from making it happen in your state. Now, people think, oh, Pat's, politically tied in. Pat's, somehow, can get these things done. Guys, I'm a computer technician. That's what I do for a living. I'm an IT guy. I have my own business. It has nothing to do with me being tied in with politicians or politics or Jeff City. In fact, a lot of people up there don't like me. A lot of people up there love me, though, which is really cool. I think I'm a likable guy. I think I'm friendly.
Yeah, definitely.
But nothing is stopping you. I mean, if you work at a convenience store, there's nothing stopping you from starting a movement in your state to get gold and silver as legal tender. Nothing. You can take our bill right from our website, mofree.org, literally download it, send it to your representative or your senator. We're talking state representative and state senator. Don't go to DC with this because they don't want it, by the way. You can send it to your state senator, your state rep, and other people in your state should be doing the same thing. The more people that do that in your state, the more likely it is you will have that bill. And once that bill's in, support it. Through people like Ron's Basement, we made quite an impact in 2023. And other channels will probably step in this year. Ron, you had the singular distinction of being like the only channel to be reporting on state news in 2023. It was just you. And believe me, we reached out to a lot. No, there was one more. I can't remember the guy that did a video. Sal. That's right. Salivate Metal. Thank you.
Salivate. Yeah.
Yep. So he did help. But I mean, consistently, you put out video after video covering the states. And hopefully our friends at the Silver Degen Club are going to do the same thing. I've talked to them recently. And big shout out to everyone in the Silver Degen Club in that network. Because I think they're part of the solution here. Equally, like I said, there might be an announcement sometime in the near future for Citizens for Sound Money, because they're getting involved and we need more people involved. But Ron, I'll never forget this, and I hope your audience doesn't either. It started with you, and it's because Wall Street Silver, I hate to bring this up again, but I know Wall Street Silver is under new management now. But December and January, December of 2022, January of 2023, Wall Street Silver was not interested in covering this at all.
Yeah.
At all.
And they were under different management at that time.
They were.
I think the new guys in charge there would be very receptive. And I want to throw in, yes, I may have been the first YouTube content, but really, Pat, you started it. You reached out to me. And I want to point out to everyone who's watching right now that Pat works tirelessly on these initiatives, right? And he has not positioned himself, and he's not doing that because of motivation to make money. You're doing this because of what you believe in, and that you're not profiting from this financially in any way.
Yeah, I'm one of those strange guys where my treasure's in heaven. So so that's what I believe. But guys, I'm telling you, don't do this for money, because actually you won't be able to get anything done. But the fact of the matter is, what we're fighting here is an honest to God burgeoning tyranny. It's coming, folks. And the way they will control everyone is CDBCs. You have to have a second option in your state. This is critical. And once again, look no further than China. Look at what they're doing. That's the model for the entire world. This is important. It's important for your freedom. And if you won't do it for yourself because you're like, oh, I'm 60 years old, I don't have that many years left. Think about your kids and your progeny. The generations that will come after you that have lost freedom because of inaction today. This is critical. And I want to give a big shout out and a hello to Senator Bill Eigel for sponsoring silver and gold legislation in the state of Missouri. And I know that there's going to be House members sponsoring in 2024 as well. But the fact of the matter is, Bill has been on the forefront of this issue in Missouri, started this movement, this big nationwide movement in 2023. And he's an incredible man. I'm just very grateful that he's given us a piece of legislation that we could grab onto and push and get people involved at the state level. And in your state, it doesn't matter what state you're in. If you're in a blue state, a red state, it doesn't matter. Gold and silver legislation is about having another option, because the only option, remember we talked about a lack of choices, a lack of options. That's what's coming your way if you don't fight for gold and silver legislation in your state. And I'm not trying to shame people into doing this, but please don't do echo chambers. If that's what you're going to do, don't even bother. You have to actually pick up the phone and call up a representative or a senator. You have to email them. And what is really, really effective, gang, and I know this from personal experience, what's really effective is making that visit to the Capitol. and talking to them personally in their offices. That is the most potent, powerful thing you can do for silver and gold legislation. Guaranteed. Phone calls and emails do help, though.
And I have this dream that at some point I'm going to be at the Missouri State Capitol, and I'm going to have the gold bear with me. I'm going to be pushing him around in a wheelchair to drive that point home. And I'm going to make a whole video about it.
Well, Ron, on January 9th, we have our big knock and shock. We have a scheduled date at the Capitol. I would love to have you join us if your schedule allows for it.
Well, I'll see what I can do. Can I bring the bear, or would that cause too much commotion?
Nope. Actually, I'll make sure that you can bring the bear in.
He's going to ride in the passenger seat of the car with me to Jeff City, but then I'm going to need a wheelchair to push him around in, because I'm not carrying that guy around all day.
Well, that's good, because that's like a 2-hour drive for you. That way you have someone to talk with to keep you awake on the drive there and the drive back. But no, I would love if you would join us sometime. But please keep in mind, if you're in the state of Missouri, January 9th, the Capitol in Missouri, the Capitol building, knock and shock, silver and gold day in the Capitol. We're trying to get as many people there as humanly possible. Please join us. If you don't know what to do, if you don't know what to say, that's fine. Just be a part of the crowd and watch and learn. Get active.
Show that you support silver and gold legislation. I think it's, you talked about needing an option, right? As we move into this new, digital CBDC type environment. And I speak the same way, but we're not really talking about an option. What we're talking about is going back to what's always been true, and that's that silver and gold are real money. Not, before the formation of the United States, silver and gold have been real money. And the founding fathers knew that silver and gold are real money and allow people to maintain their freedoms and their liberties. And now, as we move into this environment, what we need to, I guess, really make sure is, and I like to use the word reclaim, either reclaim or maintain our ability to have that silver and gold to help us, have our financial privacy and our ability to maintain, preserve wealth as we see fit.
That's right. And once again, I'm going to have to point out, by the way, I'll, accent that in a second here, but the fact is a dystopian future awaits us. The second biggest economy in the world, China, has gone to this dystopian futuristic model where, basically your cell phone is your whole life. Your digital ID is on your cell phone. Your digital wallet is on your cell phone. You're using, nothing but digital money or currency. Facial recognition software tied to your social credit score for you to travel, for you to get into stores. 15-minute cities are coming, gang. This is how you fight this nonsense. And it's not like you can hold up this gold coin, to this camera that's doing facial recognition, because the store owner won't have control over whether or not that door opens. China's the example. So this is very powerful stuff here, gang. I mean, we have to have another option, because we can't say, if the federal government says CBDC is legal tender, the states have to take it. The Constitution's written this way. But the states can have something else, and the federal government's not going to give us gold and silver ever. I'm sorry, Eric Thrasher. I'm going to get a hold of you soon, buddy. Eric Thrasher in Ohio, basically, I believe it was savethedollar.org or something like that. He was talking about gold backing the dollar, gold backing, American currency. That won't work because, once again, this comes down to whether or not they will fractionally reserve, or the state will just, we don't have the gold. Okay, let's just be honest. I was trying to dance around that. We don't have the gold. It's gone. So we can't gold back the dollar. We can say we can. We can say we have 7,000 tons of gold in Fort Knox. No one's seen it since 1953. Oh, that's not true. What's his name? Mnuchin. Yep. Came out and put out a tweet. Gold is safe. The first
That's your audit. That's your audit.
Yep, that's your audit. That's right. Yeah. And Ron, I'm sure you know a little bit about numbers. That isn't an official audit.
No, I worked for a big four accounting firm when I got out of college. I still remember a little bit about auditing. That is definitely not an audit. No.
Yep. And so that's what we have as assurance, because no politician, no president can go see the gold in Fort Knox.
Yeah.
They can't see it. They're not allowed in. But Mnuchin, for some reason, who, basically Mnuchin, of course, controlled by the banking network, was allowed into Fort Knox and then came out and tweeted gold is safe. That's it.
Yeah. He's an ex-Goldman Sachs guy. He was definitely working for the people, Pat, right? When he was
that's right. Goldman Sachs is all about the people. That's
right.
So
that tweet, that's akin to me tweeting out a picture of Elvis Presley this afternoon and saying Elvis is alive, right?
That's right.
So Elvis is alive and all the gold is at Fort Knox.
Yeah, but the only difference is he was Treasury Secretary, so he supposedly has, some form of street cred,
right?
Basically with every tweet, he's going to be honest, so please don't look for honesty from, federal politicians, gang, because it just ain't there. And by the way, Missouri Freedom Initiative, I'm going to throw one more thing in here.
Yeah.
We're about a lot more than just gold and silver. We're starting an initiative in the month of December to actually lay out a roadmap for people to take back their school systems and put their school systems, and we're talking about public schools, under local control. So we're about more than just the tyranny coming with the CDBCs. There's tyranny, governing the public school system in America. And we want to see that go away too. So please don't misunderstand and think, oh, Pat is just all about silver and gold. No, we're about keeping your Second Amendment rights. We're about actually returning local control to your local school district. We're about, gold and silver as well, because the reason it's not about being money, it's about control. Yeah. Are you and I in control of our lives, Ron? Or is the federal government to be in control of our lives? We make that decision, you and I, by doing something on the state level.
Yeah. It's going to be an interesting year ahead. I want to invite everyone who's joined us for this conversation. Number one, to thank Pat. You can do that in the comment section below. And if you want to learn more about Pat, about his organization, the Missouri Freedom Initiative, they can go to mofree.org. Is that right?
That's right. Pat? Mo is in Missouri, M-O, free.org, mofree.org. And everything we do is generally there. But we do a live stream on Saturday nights at 7:30 every Saturday night, unless there's some sort of emergency situation. But if you're on the email list, you get an email from us every Saturday morning or early Saturday afternoon. And then basically our legislative season starts in January. So we start going back to the Capitol. And I would love it if some of the times we're at the Capitol, Ron, basically if you're live streaming, we'd love to check in on your live stream.
Yep, that would be awesome. And you never know, I may do a live stream from the Capitol, right?
Holy mackerel, would that be powerful? Not just for Missouri, but for other states. If they could see our knock and shock operation. When I'm doing that, and I've been asked before, why aren't there pictures? Why aren't there videos, of the stuff you do up at the Capitol? I don't think that way. I'm organizing people when we're up there. Yeah. So I'm leading a group generally, and then organizing, basically for other groups and stuff like that, because sometimes we're so large, we have to separate into 2 groups, 3 groups, and, basically cover different floors. But that's just the nature of the beast. I mean, you can only squeeze about 30 people, we found out, into a senator's office. And so, you can't get more than that in there. In a representative's office, it's even less. Yeah. So, basically we have to form, our smaller groups, but knock and shock, January 9th, the Missouri Capitol, be there or be square.
Sounds good.
So, and Ron, if you can't go, please do a live stream, a special live stream for that knock and shock operation, so we can get some phone calls coming in at the same time. That'd be great.
Sounds like a plan, Pat. Thank you again on behalf of myself and all the viewers, all the basement dwellers that have joined us today. And we'll look forward to talking to you soon.
Hey, Ron, thank you so much for having me back. Thank you for letting me get the information out. And thank you for being you. God bless you, sir.
Thank you.